Welcome to CAM Radio, an Ahead of the Curve initiative by Cyril Amarchand Mangaldas, bringing you every Friday the latest in legal and policy. Stay tuned. Enjoy listening.
Hello and a very warm welcome to everyone. For our special 2025 New Year opener, please help me welcome Cyril Shroff, Managing Partner, Cyril Amarchand Mangaldas, to deliver a powerful keynote about looking back and looking ahead.
A very happy New Year to you. This is the third season of CAM Radio. We begin 2025 strongly with a whole new set of episodes that we will record during the year. So I'm looking forward to recording many such episodes during the year. Now, being the inaugural show of CAM Radio, I want to zoom out. I want to zoom out first to some of the major themes that we saw in 2024, and then do a little bit of crystal ball gazing into 2025, both from a politics point of view, economy point of view, and of course the law. And it's also very important here for CAM, and I'll talk about that briefly. So I'll talk a little bit about the firm as well. So first, 2024. Let me start with geopolitics. It was an incredibly important for the world. Almost 65 nations went, and half of humanity went to elections. And there were some major elections, including India, the US, UK, many countries in Europe and elsewhere. And in 40 of them, there has been a change of regime where the incumbents were punished. So as you look at the year gone by, in terms of global politics, there has been huge change. Democracy there may be imperfections in it, but democracy has really asserted itself at the global stage and given some unpredictable outcomes as well. For example, Trump's return to office, only the second president to be elected for non-consecutive terms. Even the Indian elections, whilst we have the same prime minister, in terms of the numbers, there was a bit of a surprise as well. So, for a watcher of politics and how politics shapes nations, this has been a very interesting year, which has added to the uncertainty and added to the VUCA element of life as we live it on the planet today. So that's one. Now, domestic politics. Domestic politics has also seen a lot of electoral surprises, whether it was the national elections in the month of May, and then we saw some states as well, including Maharashtra, Haryana, and others, which threw up surprising outcomes, but also very clear outcomes as well, which were probably contrary to the wisdom of the day, as one would gather from the media as well. And it has made politics a very, very interesting phenomenon in the country of today. No wonder today that the new legislation has been introduced now. God knows where it will go, because it's before the select committee, a joint parliamentary committee on one nation, one election, which has its merits. But let's see where that goes. But it also shows how important this concept of electoral politics is in a vibrant democracy such as ours. So that was another big theme of 2024. Turning to the economy, I think India is definitely one of the stronger economies in the world today in terms of growth. Even at its worst, we see there is a steady flow of not only investment but also hope in terms of how the economy will grow. But we did see in the third quarter a slowdown in terms of the GDP numbers, 5.4%, which was one of our lowest in recent times. But thankfully, now the latest prediction that has come up from the Ministry of Finance is a prediction of about 6.5%. Nonetheless, there are very few countries in the world today which have even 5.4% growth. And I think we continue to maintain our title of one of the fastest growing economies in the world. A lot else has been happening. I think FDI has been doing well. We still get amongst the highest FDIs in the world. Despite the moderate GDP numbers, we have a very strong capital markets. India has the highest number of IPOs in the world today, and there was a recent observation that we have surpassed even the US and China last year in terms of the number of IPOs. So that's an indication. What does an IPO market, robust IPO market indicate? It means hope. It means that we are taking equity risks on the economy of tomorrow. I think the investors and both foreign and Indian retail investors are taking a punt on the future of the country and the future of the economy, because that's what equity really represents, and that is the popular sentiment. So that's another observation of last year. Private equity has a lot of dry powder. I mean, they did some significant deals last year as well, and I'm expecting them to do much more in 2025. So that private equity, I think, will continue to be private equity, and within that, I would include other financial sponsors, sovereign funds, pension funds, and all of that. I think I would expect them to be a major source of foreign direct investment in India in the years to come. And it is absolutely necessary, because the financing gap for what India needs in terms of equity capital is only going to come from investors like that. I think strategics, of course, but institutional investors play a big role. Now, what else did we see in 2024? We saw a lot of enforcement, particularly by the financial regulators, whether it is SEBI, whether it is RBI, whether it is otherwise some of the agencies like the ED and CBI and others as well. Enforcement was a big theme. And I think it's a reflection of the fact that India has moved towards a more rule-based regime. The rule of law is getting stronger and stronger. And we saw within this also, we saw the financial regulators being particularly more energetic, if I can say, in terms of the enforcement. There were financial players whose business was suspended, stopped. Investigations were carried out as well. So there has been, one would say that the financial sector got a slightly heavier dose of regulation and enforcement. And because of the pivotal nature of the financial sector, I think we will continue to see this theme continue all the way through 2025 and beyond, especially since so much financial innovation is happening, whether it's crypto, whether it's fintech, in terms of also how AI and the financial sector are going to interact. So I think there's a lot happening there as well. Another big theme of 2024 was the coming of age in almost a span of 2 years of generative AI and the large language model. So it's hard to believe that something like ChatGPT and OpenAI are barely a 2-year-old story, but they are now dominating several conversations, and in the wake of their success, we've seen so many new applications develop as well. There are now so many options in the market in various fields, including in the legal field as well. So Gen AI has arrived, and if the experts are to be believed, we are presently only at the foothills of the journey of Gen AI, and the mountain is yet to come. Rather scarily, I believe that 2025 or maybe 2026 latest, we will see Gen AI, the intelligence of Gen AI surpass that of human intelligence. Just at this point of time, human beings are probably still the most intelligent beings or things on the planet. We are very close to becoming the second most intelligent beings on the planet when Gen AI overtakes us. Now that is a bit scary, but I think that is what it is, and we are at that stage just now in the AI journey, which also means that there will have to be a huge policy initiative in terms of how Gen AI is going to be regulated, what are ethical uses. There's going to be a combination of both policy as well as regulation. The world is struggling with this. And what we saw in 2024 was that Europe has forged ahead with a slightly more prescriptive regime. The US has been a bit more light touch, and India is thinking about it. We came up with an AI advisory, but also kind of quickly withdrew it till we think about it a bit more deeply. In terms of what other major legal developments happened in India in 2024, firstly, we have a new Chief Justice. Justice Chandrachud, who had a reasonably long term, was there. He passed many important judgments, but in November we saw a transition, and we now have a new Chief Justice. I think in the next couple of years we will see many short terms before we again at some stage have a Chief Justice with a relatively long term. So the Supreme Court always continues to remain a big topic in terms of when you look at things with a legal lens. What we also saw was the 3 new criminal acts, which preceded by a year, but what we saw was coming into effect, so to speak, of these laws in 24, and that certainly did create quite a stir. We have yet to see the initial evidence of how these laws are actually working, but there is a lot of controversy about some of the provisions of it. I think it's too premature to answer the question as to whether we now have a new justice system and whether this is cosmetic or deep or what it is actually going to mean. But it is what it is. If the old laws have gone, we have a new framework, and life will never be the same again. I think some of these provisions are going to land up before the Supreme Court in a constitutional challenge. I think some are already pending. Personally, I don't believe these laws are going to be struck down, but some of the provisions are more likely to be read down to make them more reasonable. So, reserving judgment in terms of how the new three criminal laws of the Penal Code, the Criminal Procedure Code, and the Indian Evidence Act in its new avatar are going to be received.
What will leadership look like in the times of AI in 2025 and beyond?
That's a great question, and forests are being destroyed in terms of the amount of stuff that is being written precisely on these topics. So I'll give a very short answer, and I know it's a highly incomplete answer. That as AGI continues to develop, I think it will also start developing a personality. I think one of the things which AI currently does not have is a sense of self-awareness. But the more recent AIs that are coming out, some of them are also developing a sense of self-awareness. And some of it is quite scary. So Yuval Harari has said that actually AI is an alien intelligence. I think he's being a bit spooky about it, but I think precisely for the reason that you asked me this question, I think he has warned us that if we are not careful in terms of putting in the relevant safeguards for the ethical use and control of this, that at some point of time it will have the power to modify itself in a manner that we can change the original program. And then at that point, somewhere it will go out of human control. So, and at that stage, it will develop its own personality, it will develop feelings or the lack of them. And I think we're going to be facing a very different world. Leadership, I think there is both an operational aspect of leadership, and I think there is also a more philosophical aspect of it. The operational aspect is today, what does it mean for the CEOs of the world and in businesses or even political leaders? I think AI is here and somebody will have to lead it. And personally, I think that the CEO of the organization or the government or whatever it is will have to lead the change. AI is such a disruptive topic that I don't think it can be left only to the CTO or CIO. It is an organizational design and an existential thing. So the organizational leader will have to lead, to bring in these changes and to create the systems, the safety systems around it. And it's a lot of it is uncharted territory. In terms of just in terms of philosophy, I think we will have to, as organizations or as societies, be ready to accept the fact that whilst AI is a great efficiency tool, I think it offers one of the best chances to alleviate countries like us from poverty and to release productivity. And India is particularly at an advantage because of our population and our ability to deal with science and technology at scale, at population scale. So I think we have an advantage, but there are too many questions. So sadly, Shrija, I can't answer your question as to what will happen. But I know that leadership will have to be very alert, and you will have to have a point of view. You can't be just reliant upon what AI does to you. We will have to be careful in terms of what we do with AI. So speaking about CAM for us, like I've made the adoption of AI as my topmost priority for the firm this year. We were waiting on the sidelines to see, when it reaches a tipping point. I think we have, and I think this is the year when CAM will embrace it in a significant, wholesome way. So, coming back now to 2025, what am I? 2025, I think, is going to be an interesting year. At one level, it's going to be more of the same of many trends that we saw in 2025 streaming through 2025 as well. 2024 streaming through 2025, and I think there will be a lot more new things as well. On the economy front, I'm expecting some bold reforms in the budget, because we've seen a slowdown of growth. So I think there will be a political imperative to bring growth back on track. Now, what does that mean? It may mean interest cuts. It may mean more incentives for different types of initiatives. I think we can see more state investment in infrastructure. So we'll see all of that. So that, I think, is what I would expect in terms of, and it will obviously also mean more crowding in of the private sector. I think there will be encouragement to really, private sector continuing to take bolder decisions. I think that the fact that India's growth has to be on steroids is not something which the government can do alone without the help of the private sector. So I'm expecting a very positive growth-oriented budget. This is the first proper budget after the government came back to power. The one was more like an interim budget and not the real message. So I'm hoping, I'm an optimist. I'm just thinking about it in a positive way. I also expect that there will be a lot more emphasis on corporate governance and transparency in the markets. I think we will see, both financial as well as market regulation becoming tighter as well, and I think that will generate. Also, I'm expecting it to generate a lot of activity for advisors, including law firms and policy advisors as well. What would I want to see? I would want to see more policy action on a number of long-standing initiatives. I would single out a few of them. First, I really want to see something happening on enforcement of contracts as well. It is still the favorite stick with which foreign investors beat us up on. Oh, it takes 20 years to resolve disputes in India, even on a good day, and otherwise it could take much longer as well. We have reached the tipping point in an economy where, unless we are able to solve the issue of resolve in India, rather than export some of our major corporate or business battles, that our investment will suffer, and there will be definitely concerns about how we attract FDI. So that is one of my top areas on which I would like to see positive change, and I think it has to be taken up at the highest levels of government. The second thing which I would like to see is a comprehensive look into the laws that affect technology, whether it's AI, data privacy, the Digital Competition Act, and these are all very major topics around which the entire new economy or the digital economy is dependent. I know that we have some very smart people in government who are looking at this in a systematic way, but there is a bit of a stop-start. For example, the Data Protection Act, the Personal Data Protection Act, has been around, but it has become law, but the rules are still not out. So this stop-start phenomenon on major economic, or technology-related legislations is a bit worrying. So I'm hoping that we can unfreeze this. Third aspect kind of links a little bit into the first topic, which I mentioned on resolving India as well, is uh, the contract enforcement through arbitration. Why are we still, despite the fact that we've been talking about arbitration for so long, and have taken various measures to form institutions which can deal with this, why has it still not become more pervasive than it already is? So I think somebody will need to take a good hard look at it and provide the impetus for arbitration to become more mainstream. Yes, there is a committee that is looking at it as well, but it's still not a mainstream conversation as I would like it to be. I'm hoping that in 2025 or beyond, that this becomes a very effective way of resolving commercial disputes, preferably in India rather than exporting them around the world. So that's my wish list on the legal side. The rest, I think, is all important, but it's a lot of it is business as usual. Now, that was some observations in relation to 2025. Let me now turn. I don't know how much time we have left, but turn to my firm of Cyril Amarchand Mangaldas. So it's an important year for us. May 2025 will mark the 10th anniversary of the new firm after it was established upon the split of erstwhile AMSS. And I'm quite happy with where we are. We have grown exponentially from the time that we started 10 years ago to now. We have achieved market leadership on most of our practices. We have become the go-to destination for senior talent. And 2024 was a very good example of that, of where we brought in a lot of senior lateral talent from different segments of the market. So I believe that we are becoming the go-to destination for senior lateral talent, and I think that will be a big theme in 2025 as well. I'm also satisfied that we were able to make a number of contributions to public policy, working with various policy makers in Delhi and elsewhere on a whole wide range of topic, whether it's financial services, whether it's technology, whether it's natural resources and others, and those contributions have been very satisfying. I think we have also been able to make our contribution on thought leadership as well through either programs such as this or other initiatives that we run. So from a firm point of view, in terms of what we are giving back and contributing to society and to the profession, I'm happy of where we kind of landed up. I think we are in a very good spot now, and looking at a very energizing and exciting period ahead. But I don't want to brag more about the firm except to say that we are in a happy place and we are looking forward. We are full of energy for the year ahead.
And so, I would like to thank Mr. Cyril Shroff for his wise analysis for what is to come and what we leave behind. And until we see you again, goodbye and good luck.